Okay, it is April the 16th, 1 hour before the weekly close. Let's do the market outlook and plans for the week ahead. So before I get into things, I hope everybody had an opportunity to enjoy their weekends and step away from screens. I know I did myself, so it's always refreshing. I'm feeling ready for the week, and off the first initial glance that I've done on Sunday night here, it's looking like it's going to be a spicy week, so you're definitely going to want to be focused up here. So let's get into things. First off, let's go over news events. The TLDR on news events is for macro, there is none. The only one that is even worth mentioning is on Thursday, we have the FOMC member speaking, but that's going to be kind of irrelevant. Maybe we get a tiny bit of vol off of them saying a remark here or there, but that's not going to matter since it's not going to be a FOMC or a CPI. So pretty much all the events this week are going to be non-events, so we don't need to worry about that. So we can go ahead and get into the benchmark analysis. So let's start off with the S&P. So we have a few different things that we want to highlight here. Let's start off with the higher time frame image. So just to make sure everyone's on the same page, we have pretty bearish structure throughout all of 2022. At the end of 2022, a structural shift began to take place where we started to lock in our first higher low, and following that we have now created consecutive higher highs. It looks like we're fighting for that third higher high right now, and consecutive lower or higher lows, excuse me. So bull structure is pretty definitive going into the start of 2023, so want to be mindful of that. So now that we have the higher time frame structure pointed out, let's talk about the ranges that we're working with. So first off, we have the larger range, the macro range, so to speak, which is roughly, where we're at right now is the range high, and roughly anywhere from 38 to 39 is going to be the range low right now. So ultimately, we're waiting for a directional break from this range. If I had to guess, it's going to be to the upside. So our upside and our downside targets from this range are going to be pretty obvious just based off VWAP and composite structuring. So if we have a break to the upside, we're looking for that 43 to 44, potentially all the way up to 4,500. If we get a range break to the downside, we're looking for a double bottom in the 35 to lower 36s. So that's pretty much it for the higher time frame outlook. Let's zoom in a little bit more and deal with what we're working with right now. So very similar to these kind of micro ranges that we're building on the larger rotations. We have a pretty obvious range formed right here. So ultimately, we're just waiting for a directional break from this range. As far as VWAP structure goes, the S&P on lower time frame is looking really bullish. So it looks like we're going to get that upside break, which is probably ultimately going to lead to that larger range break for our up move towards 43, 44. My bias prior to looking at it today has been always that we were going to pull back and mark in our third higher low to trade up. So let's go ahead and delete everything so everything's pretty clear for you guys. So I still kind of think that this is what should happen, is that we should, from this range, break down, find support in this demand that's going to overlap with the HVN, which is conveniently going to overlap with higher time frame VWAPs as well, to make our next higher low. But there's no reason that we need to do that. If this happens, this is going to drag crypto likely down with it. So it'd be a good bid opportunity. Ultimately, the S&P really is lining up perfectly with my Bitcoin plan. So whichever way we break, it's pretty obvious how we're going to play it. So let's move over to Bitcoin, and then we'll get into altcoins. So first off, let's run through higher time frame on Bitcoin. So our schematic that we've been monitoring for a couple of months now is playing out perfectly. We're in stage 3 where we're looking to trade up a little bit higher towards the 32 to 33 region for our next macro range / potential distribution phase. So definitely still think that nothing's changed, that we should continue to trade up higher. I have a lower time frame plan that slightly deviates from this that we'll go over here momentarily, but that's pretty much that. So as far as VWAP structuring goes, our major VWAP areas to pay attention to. Our major VWAP areas to pay attention to are the same ones that as it's always been. So we're looking at the 34K region, and we're looking at the 26K region. These are, as far as higher time frame VWAPs, these are the only regions that we really care about right now. As far as composite structuring goes, we pretty much care about 31K and 28.5 right now. So that 28.5 is going to potentially play a major role. So we can go ahead and dive into that really quickly. So for the lower time frame plan going into the week, we have a nice 5-day composite structure built up here, nice and tight. It's only, let's see, about 400 points wide. So this is one of the tightest comps that we've had in quite some time now. So basically, there's two ways that the price action ends up playing out this week. One is that we break to the upside from this composite, and that's pretty much going to be contingent upon how this VWAP structuring forms on this next day that we have in 1 hour. So when the weekly resets, basically pay very close attention to strong weekly VWAP structure, because if that is the case, then we're probably going to end up going with play number 1 to the upside, break to the upside, go sideways into this comp, and then blast off towards towards 32 or 33K. I definitely think that this is probably more of the fuck you kind of play. A lot of people want Bitcoin to cool down or go sideways so that their altcoins can go up, or they want it to go down so that they can catch bids. So just going straight up from here is the perfect fuck you scenario. It doesn't make sense to lean into that bias until you see that bullish VWAP structuring, like we pointed out. If we see bearish VWAP structuring going into the beginning of the week, then we're probably going to get play number 2, where we come back down, retest this previous range, retest this previous composite low before we trade back up. So ultimately, the higher time frame plan still is going to end up with us trading up towards this region. But is it a question of, do we pull back, give bidders a chance to bid support again, or do we just go up without them? Who knows? It's absolutely a shot in the dark which one we're going to guess is going to happen. Okay, so that's composite structuring and that's VWAP structuring. As far as premiums go, the spot premium is still nice and present, and as we can see, let's drop the time frame down a tiny bit. As we can see, the premium is throughout this range that we've been building right here, just over 30K. You can see that the premium has been thickening out, so that just shows us the continued spot bid that's present in our market. So that's pretty bullish, to be honest. As long as that premium stays intact, the plan is working out quite well. So just a quick glance at futures. So futures have gotten quite flat again. So we had, for example, the Binance June contract was trading all the way up to 2 basis points recently, and that premium has collapsed all the way down to just over 1. So as far as the large open interest contract goes for futures, which is just going to basically be the June contracts from OKX, from Deribit, and from Binance, we're looking really flat. So as far as derivatives go, there's no reason to get worried that we're overextended. As far as momentum goes on higher time frame, there is definitely legitimate arguments that we are overextended and that we need to do this, pullback towards, mid 28s. It's a pretty reasonable argument. As far as derivatives go, though, we're all clear to keep trading up. Okay, so that's it for all the benchmark stuff. For more information, check out the Paragon group with the link below, where I cover everything from how I trade to how you can develop your own style. Okay, so let's go ahead and cover ETH. So definitely everybody wants to be paying close attention to ETH. It seems that we're at that part of the cycle where ETH is starting to shine again. This is historically how most of our cycles, the really healthy uptrends that we trade, how they play out is Bitcoin sucks the life out of almost everything except for a small handful of alts that will outperform it. Bitcoin will trade up. It will continue to run over bears and continue to run over shorters until it starts to tucker out, which looks like it's doing now as we trade up into the 30K region. Those flows will dip down the risk curve, starting with things like ETH into the mid caps, into the shit coins, into the absolute garbage at the riskiest end of the curve. That is how the cycles generally play out, and it looks like we're at that stage where Bitcoin is starting to calm down and ETH is starting to heat up again, which is exactly what all of our altcoin traders want to see. So the TLDR on ETH is that it's got a bit of a sideways range going here. I don't really want to be super aggressive with anything here. Ideally, we could get a substantial pullback either towards 2000 or towards 1930. These are the two regions that I want to pay attention to. If I get any dips into there, then I'll probably be looking to either add to spot or open a bit of a breakout swing long. We'll see. Let's get into altcoins now. So altcoins are looking spicy, guys. That is going to be the takeaway from the altcoin talk today, is that we want to be paying close attention to altcoins. A lot of them have pretty bullish setups going into this week. So let's run through. My list hasn't really changed that much. It's pretty much just the same list that it's been, but we're going to run through it anyways. So first and foremost, the strongest coin in the market, INJ. This thing's an absolute monster. I said that it was going to flip, if it flipped $5, that it would trade to $10. I did not expect it to do that in, just less than a month. We're talking about like 2 weeks, and it just teleported up to $10. So I'm a little bit mad at myself that I didn't fully maximize this. I did catch longs along the way, but I could have just sat there and, either a swing long or a spot long position and just done nothing. And that's what I should have done, but you live and you learn. I didn't play this one perfectly. Next, this is my active position that I wanted to talk about. So I am long on Avalanche. Unfortunately, it's only 50% because I took off the first half of this trade somewhere around 1850. I don't remember exactly. It was probably on one of these first drives. Actually, I booked half the bag. It is what it is. I obviously wish I had kept it open. I don't really have any intentions of panic closing it anytime soon. I'm gonna let this trade breathe a little bit since the risk is quite low for me. But the structure on Avalanche is looking really good. It has major resistance that it's trading into, which is the main thing I'm going to be paying attention to. If this starts to round off, maybe I just take profit and look to relong it. But it does look like it wants to continue to trade up. So Avalanche has been a banger of a trade. It didn't, I didn't have to go underwater for even a split second on this trade. So sometimes you get lucky like that. We've got quite a few other altcoins to run through, so we're going to try to do it quickly. So GMX is another one that I'm paying close attention to. This is a very, very strong altcoin, so I'm going to be paying close attention to this one. FTM is like the same exact setup as Avalanche, but it appears to be lagging a little bit. Here comes our boomer coins. So first off, we have EOS. EOS looks really strong. Higher time frame VWAPs look really good. The immediate term VWAPs look good. Volume profile looks good. So EOS, looks really good to continue to trade up. It's the same picture with ADA, except I'd like to see a pullback on this one because it does feel quite a bit overextended. So if Cardano wants to pull back, 3, 4, maybe 5 cents, that's going to be a really good bid right there. So pay close attention to Cardano if we get some blood this week. XLM is our boomer coin that is just totally fucking ready to go. So on the stream last week, we had talked about how strong this one was. We were trading below the fresh quarterly when we were monitoring this one. So what we talked about was we wanted to flip the quarterly and flip the HVN. And if we do that successfully, that this is a turbo long. It's got quite a lot of breathing room on it because it doesn't have that much resistance. It's currently trading into its most major resistance and going sideways into it. So this is probably going to be a monster long. I don't have any positioning on it, but it is one that I'm paying close attention to. The risk definition is perfect on it. And the VWAPs are saying it wants to trade up. So I'll be watching this one. Next, we have Woo. Woo, this one got really overextended, so, this is kind of an older drawing, but basically any substantial pullbacks, I would be monitoring 28 cents and probably 26 and 24 as potential reasons to bid this one. It's a strong coin, but it needs to pull back before I could play this one. ENJ was one that I was a bit disappointed by, but it is starting to shape up a little bit more nicely, so it's not at the forefront of my mind or anything, but I will be monitoring this one. CFX is one that is probably shaping up for another major long, so I'm going to be paying very close attention to this one. It's giving me these kind of vibes right now, and I caught this trade last week. Absolute banger, just going up 20%, just like it was nothing. So I think that we're probably setting up for a very similar type of play where we could probably just ape where it's at now for a big pop. Our risk definition would be nice and tight, and we could get potentially our next kind of higher high within that larger picture here. So CFX is a banger trade potentially. Be watching that one closely. Our last out of our major contenders is going to be FXS. This is one that I have been disappointed by, but more recently it's starting to shape up. So it's reclaimed its previous year, which is currently right here on the spot pairing. So I'm going to be paying close attention to this one because it is, it has like a major range. So similar to the link play, this one is currently trading like this into its macro range. So it is, consolidating above its major, its major macro range right now. So this is one that I'll be watching for a potential breakout long. It looks like the stars are aligning on that one. Okay, a few more to run through. We'll take a look at Arbitrum. So the Arbitrum play worked out perfectly. Did I min-max it? Absolutely not. I kind of fucked this play up in the sense that I didn't just buy spot and do nothing, which is probably what I should have done. I actively traded it, and things worked out all right, but I definitely did not maximize my upside just because I wasn't long the entire time. But basically, this parabola ended up pulling, shaping up perfectly. It's crazy how I drew this parabola over here and how that worked out. It is what it is. So, basically we traded up towards our $1.69 meme level. We always target memes, guys. That's like, it's not actually a joke in crypto. We actually want to target meme levels because it works. Moving forward with Arbitrum, though, just a steep pullback is going to be a did. So basically pull back towards $1.40. We'll go ahead and slap in an alert there. That'll be good. $1.40, and then it's probably a bid again. So this thing, reminds me of Woo, where it needs to pull back. But if it does, then it's a buy. There are a lot of other altcoins that are looking very similar to what Phantom was looking like a couple of days ago. CHG is a good example. This is one to pay attention to, right? It is starting to shape up quite nicely. A lot of altcoins look like CHG right now. So basically, the aggregate of the altcoin market is starting to catch a bid, is the TLDR of all the altcoin analysis. So there's a lot of potential altcoin plays. I think there might have been, Mask is, another one, very reminiscent of what we were seeing with Stellar Lumens, right? It needs to reclaim the HVN, reclaim the quarterly, and then it's a bid as well. There's quite a lot. I wanted to definitely highlight Link. So Link is trading up into its macro composite. It very well could be about to break out. If it does this pullback, so this is the play that we drew way over here. We wanted to test the range high, pull back to the HVN, and then bid it. So if it does a absolute fuck you pullback all the way towards 740 and change, this is going to be a major bid for me. If it doesn't do this pullback and it starts to consolidate outside of here, I might just buy spot and spot long and chill. There's a million other altcoins to run through, but I don't want to make this a 2-hour-long video, so that's pretty much where we'll digress. There's a lot of altcoins that are looking good. I'm gonna be prioritizing my GigaStrong list and my big booties. Something like Blur is one to pay attention to as well. It looks like it wants to follow in the tracks of Arbitrum, so I'll be paying attention to Blur. And actually, there's basically all the big booty coins over here are looking pretty good, right? Liquidity is starting to shape up quite nicely, and Joe looks really good, right? Joe. This thing looks super bullish. So all the big booties are strong, and the GigaStrongs are obviously strong as well. So that's that for the altcoins. We just gotta ride the wave. Cheers, everyone.